The death of a student of Abuja-based Catholic University, Veritas University, has continued to generate controversy. While the parents of the student are crying foul, the university management denies any wrongdoing. We have in the studio Ben Agande, who's the head of corporate affairs and communications at Veritas University. Good to see you. And this story is still out there. I recall the statement put out by the school at that point in time. First, let's revisit this whole talk about how he died, where it occurred, and the relationship between the death, the gymnasium, and what the parents are saying at this moment.
Well, thank you for having me. First of all, we want to apologize and condole with the parents. We feel very deeply saddened by the incident. Nobody wants to lose his child, and as a university, we feel sad that the boy died in our custody, as it were. But I can assure you that we did everything that we ought to have done. If it was going to be possible to save his life, we would have done it. Maybe I should give you a rundown of what happened.
Yeah, go ahead, by all means.
Yeah, this guy is a regular at a mini gym. It's not a really very fully developed gym, but it's a regular there. He's a big guy, 6'4", so he takes his gymming very seriously. And then he was there. He wasn't alone. He was with one of his friends and 3 other guys.
Is the gym owned by the school?
Yes. It's a mini exercise area, not full gym in that sense, but people who are enthusiasts go there, and it's one of the regular guys there. He was there, and then he was waiting to take a turn in one of the machines that somebody was using. While he sat, he slumped and hit his head on one of the machines. And then the students who were around, including his friend, who had been his friend from secondary school, rallied around, took him out of the place. The security guard on duty tried to pour water on him in the hope that he would be revived. He didn't. Unfortunately, an ambulance was moving to the clinic, so it branched to where he was and took him to the clinic. And they discovered that he was not responsive. And then at that moment, we set in mechanism to inform the parents. The chief medical director, who has 40 years of experience as a medical doctor, tried to reach this man from 9 o'clock, about 9 o'clock when the incidents happened, until 11. He never picked his call. And eventually the man returned the call, and the chief medical director gave him a rundown of what happened and what the university had done. And then the man told him, okay, I'll get back to you. From 11 o'clock until about 1, he never got back to him. The university does not have a mortuary. These incidents happened between 8:30 and 9. This is a medical facility that students go to. There was no way we could have kept him in that place at that time. So we took a decision to move him to a medical facility, a morgue. And the nearest one was the St. Fatima. And then after that, the father reached out to the Dean Student Affairs. This was around 1 o'clock. And then the man told him that, okay, we are moving the corpse to the hospital, and we will let you know. When they took it there, the chief medical director sent him a message. The corpse of your son is at the hospital. And that is what the man is referring to now, that they casually told him. That is not true. So the man came with our Dean Student Affairs, and they moved the corpse in the vehicle of our Dean to a preferred mortuary of his choice. At that moment, after that, we informed all authorities. We informed the police, we wrote formally to the police, we copied the office of the DSS in Buhari.
Did you say in the vehicle of the dean?
Yes.
But initially you said there was an ambulance.
No, the ambulance took him to the hospital, the mortuary at the nearest place. And this was around 1 o'clock. When the man got there, the vehicle, the dean conveyed him.
Who owns the ambulance?
The ambulance belonged to the school.
So why didn't you also use the ambulance to convey the corpse, the remains?
When the ambulance took him, we never anticipated that I was going to move him that night, and he insisted. And the only available vehicle at that time was the dean's vehicle. So they took him and then we reported. And then from that very moment, several stories have come up. First, they started by saying that there were wounds on the boy was stabbed 5 times. And then we said we were going to have an autopsy. And the police ordered for one. We offered to pay for it. They declined. No problem. We had a representative at the autopsy team. 1, there was no stab wound on the body whatsoever. 2, there was no injury on the body. And then as recent as Wednesday this week, the Commissioner of Police told us, the Vice Chancellor and the University Authority, that the autopsy has not been released. So we are dumbfounded when the father of our late student makes reference to an autopsy that we don't know that exists. As far as concerned, we are calling on the police, release the result of the autopsy so that there will be no speculation as per what happened. I mean, I don't know that an autopsy result can be changed. So the police will release the result of the autopsy. That we had a representative, the family had a representative, the police had a representative, and it was done at the National Hospital. So we want it to be released so that those innuendos and insinuations will stop. And if possible, I mean, it's very painful losing a child. The family can have a closure. There is no basis to even insinuate that we killed the child, as the father keeps saying. To what is the essence?
Yeah, now, going back to the gym, do you have a gym manager?
Well, we have a director of sports who oversee all these facilities. And he is the one that directs. I cannot tell now whether at that moment he was at that facility at that time. But don't forget that I said that this gym is not a very elaborate place. You have few equipment, none of which is heavy enough to follow.
So let's close on this. And the autopsy, which you say hasn't been released, but you say the family is speaking to an existing autopsy. How do you go about getting the right autopsy as a school, as an institution? So
I told you as recent as this week, we approached the Commissioner of Police that in order to put a closure to these speculations, why not release the autopsy? Because we don't have. The police has not released it. The autopsy was conducted on the order of the police. It was the police that ordered it, that because of the controversy, the issues that are surrounding it. Let there be autopsy. And it was done to tell you how serious it is. This incident happened on Thursday. The corpse was taken to the mortuary of the father's choice on Friday evening. The autopsy was done on Saturday. And he had all the representatives of the father, the police, the university. So I think that in order for us to stop making innuendos, let the police release the result of the autopsy and everything that ought to be done. But one thing I want to make sure is that
very quickly,
the university does not have a hand in the death of that. We regret it. We are pained by it. And then if we feel very, very, very pained when insinuations are made that the university has a hand in the death of this guy.
Well, Ben Agande, Head Corporate Affairs Communications, Veritas University. Good to speak with you here on Newsnight. We decided to speak with both parties to have a balanced views, having spoken to representatives of the family of the deceased.